Hello, I'm Joko Christian, and in this video we're going to talk about executing and controlling part 3 in project management. The information are compiled from Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMBOK Guide, 6 editions, and various other sources. The learning objective of this video is 1. To understand the processes of controlling process and executing process in the project quality management. 2. Understanding the process of executing processes in the project HR or human resource management. This is the holistic graph for viewing the project management knowledge areas and its group process of controlling, executing and executing. We're going to talk about project quality management knowledge areas and project human resource management knowledge area. In project quality management knowledge area, we have one process belonging to the executing process group and one process belonging to monitoring and controlling process group. Let's dive in. Executing and controlling quality management. The process in executing process group of project quality management knowledge areas is perform quality assurance. Definition of quality assurance or project quality here is the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfill the requirements. It is called ISO 9000:2000. The totality of characteristics of an entity that bear on its ability to satisfy stated or implied needs is the second definition. Quality management will include creating and following policies and procedures in order to ensure that a project meets the defined needs it was intended to meet. In this quality assurance, we have three phases from input, tools and techniques needed, and outputs. Let's dive in from the inputs. The quality assurance inputs is based from planned quality management outputs, as you can see from the left to the right here. So there are few management process that is done in quality management output, which is quality management plan, process improvement plan, quality metrics, quality checklists. It becomes quality control measurements input in perform quality assurance, and project document updates. The quality assurance tools and techniques that can be used is quite a lot. Affinity diagram is a tool that used to organize ideas and data into natural relationships. So as you can see here in affinity diagram on the right, we have few blocks here from financial, leadership, membership, routine, need, purpose, material needs, and spirit needs. The next is PDPC, Process Decision Program Charts. PDPC is a technique designed to help prepare contingency plans, which is to identify what can go wrong. We can estimate the effect and define the mitigation for the problem that arises. The other techniques is called interrelation diagram. Interrelationship diagram will show cause and effect relationships and help analyze the natural links between different aspects of a complex situation. It will encourage team members to think in multiple directions rather than linearly. To make interrelationship diagram, the component that correlates with the goal or problem at hand will be written down. For example, we gather our team and we use a team brainstorm and make them state their ideas, and we put it You can use paper or other digital techniques. Put it clockwise. Like say, one person maybe say, hey, we have too many workers. The other will say maybe, hey, we have lack of equipment. And other might say lack of storage, problem with transportation, unbalanced workload, low productivity, and so on. We just list them clockwise. And then starting from the 12 o'clock position, we try to identify what idea drives the other. For example, after we stated this characteristic and problems that we get from the coworker, from the team in the brainstorming, let's start from lack of equipment and its relationships to lack of storage space. Does the lack of equipment drive the lack of storage space? Because there is no clear and defined relationship between both of these problems, we have no correlation. So we don't put any arrow here. There's no arrow here. Now, does the lack of equipment drive the problem in transportation? It might be, it might not, but let's say in this case, because it's specific to every project, in this case, yes, in the example, because no equipment forced them to return trip to the third party that runs the service they need, and they need the service because they have no equipment. The service is the transportation. So there is an arrow from the lack of equipment into the lack of transportation, which means lack of equipment drives the problem of transportation. We do this so forth for each component that we can draw these lines. For example, in this interrelationship diagram, we repeat the question for each item until all the component is X. Let me continue for a while from lack of equipment to low productivity, because there is a lack of equipment, it drives low productivity. There's no correlation between lack of equipment and flat wool. There's no relation between lack of equipment and privacy requirement, but there is a relation between lack of equipment and waiting. So we put that arrow too, and so forth. After lack of equipment, we go to lack of storage space. Lack of storage space drives the flat wool. Let's say this project is concerning with producing with some basic raw materials of wool, and they don't want it to be in flat condition. It means it's compressed. It has no correlation with transportation, unbalance, and so on. And we go clockwise here until all the component for each item is asked. Until the end, it will be, if there's too many workers, does it have any correlation with safety issues, and so forth. Now, we count the number of arrows in and number the arrows out for each component. Let's start from lack of equipment. Lack of equipment have 0 in and 4 out. Lack of storage space have 1 in and 2 out. Transportation 2 in and 2 out. And so on. We have low productivity 7 in and 0 out, until safety issue 4 in, 1 out. But the biggest of them all is distance. Process hoofprint, 0 in, 7 out. The component with most number of out, we have 7 here in the distance, is the driver or the most likely root cause of our main problem. So this interrelationship diagram helps us to determine what is the main problem, the root of our problem. The component with the most number of in, which is low productivity, is the outcome or the potential source of measurement. So we have stated here in our interrelationship diagram that distance is the most likely root cause because it drives all other problems. And to measure whether it is, after we encourage mitigation techniques and reviews and corrections and so on in our project, how to measure that our mitigation techniques and our action change the quality assurance. So we can count from the low productivity, because it has the most number of in, as a potential source of measurement. So we will measure productivity in our quality assurance. There are other tools and techniques such as tree diagrams, prioritization matrices, network diagrams, and matrix diagrams. You can implement one or more in the project according to the project specification and needs. Now, the quality assurance output is change requests, project management plan updates, project documents updates, and organizational process assets. That is for the quality management in execution group process. Project quality management knowledge area also have one process in monitoring and controlling group process, which is to control quality. Control quality definition is to perform quality is the process of monitoring and recording result of executing the quality activities to assess performance and recommend necessary changes. The key benefits will include identifying the cause of poor quality and validating the project deliverables and work meet the requirement. As usual, there's three phases from input, tools, and techniques to output. You can read the input and output. I'll be talking about the tools and techniques first. 7 basic quality tools is the affinity diagrams, tree diagrams, interrelationship diagram that we already talked about, matrix, process decision program chart, prioritization matrices, and activity network diagram. We also can use statistical sampling, inspection, and approve change request reviews. The output will be work performance information, schedule forecasts, change requests, project management plan updates, which includes schedule baseline, schedule management plan, and cost baseline, project document updates, and organizational process assets updates. In part 2, we're going to talk about executing project human resource management. Project human resource management, we'll just call this HRM, will include the processes that organize, manage, and lead the project team. The project team is comprised of the people with assigned roles and responsibility for completing the project. There are 3 processes of project HR management knowledge areas within the executing process groups, which is acquiring project team, develop project team, and manage project team. First, acquire project team. It is to attain and assign human resource to the project. A staff may come from inside or outside of the organization, and the project manager does not always have control over the team member selection. One thing to be noted though is you need to be aware of the halo effect. Halo effect, by definition, is generalization from the perception of one outstanding personality trait to an overly favorable evaluation of the whole personality, based by Merriam-Webster. So many times it's assumed or taken for granted that a great department manager or some other person with specialized skill of expertise, extra gratia accounting, will be a great project manager for accounting project because they think this is within the person's area of expertise. But it is not necessarily a fact. A project management not only involves one area of expertise, but a whole range of activity that also requires specialized training. So many questions should be answered before choosing a project manager, because just because they possess one area of expertise doesn't mean that they can be a good project manager or a team player. An example is maybe you ever heard something like this. You are a great system analyst. So we will hire you as a project manager for building information system, and we expect you to be great. Not always necessarily true. In acquired project team, the inputs is HR management plan, enterprise environmental factors, and organizational process assets. The tools and techniques needed is pre-assignment. It is the person that has helped the sponsor in preparing the project and assigned as the project manager. Negotiation, acquisition, virtual teams, if the job does not need team member to work in the same area, and multi-criteria decision analysis. Examples of selection criteria can be availability, cost, experience, ability, knowledge, skills, attitude, and other international or side factors. The output is project staff assignments, resource calendar, which document the time periods each project team member can work on the project, and project management plan updates. Process number 2, develop project team. It is to create an open, encouraging environment for the team. Developing and enhancing the team to an effective, functioning, and coordinated group is the main focus when we develop project team. It is complicated in matrix structure where maybe there are dual reporting relationships. Maybe sometimes a staff needs to report to 2 different superior or more. The inputs for this developed project team is HR management plan, project staff assignments, and resource calendar. The tools and techniques used is interpersonal skills or soft skills to understand the sentiments, to anticipate action, to acknowledge concerns and follow up their issues. There's also technical training, okay, and team building activities to improve interpersonal relationship and team cohesiveness that may be involving team members in planning. The 5th stage of team development is forming. We have orientation in forming. Storming, we are addressing the conflict within the team members. Norming, which is using consensus and conflict resolution. Performing, to create cohesion and high performance. And adjourning, this is specific after the project finish or nearly finished, because sometimes there are a loss of motivation when we are going to the last stages of the project. The other tools and techniques is ground rules to decrease conflicts and increase productivity. Co-location to place team members or most of them in same location. Recognition and reward with a formal action to promote high performance and involve effective system to link between performance and reward. And personnel assessment tool. The output of developed project teams will be team performance assessment, improvement in skills to allow for higher performance, improvement in competencies and moral, and reduce turnover rates, and enterprise environmental factor updates. Notes on developing the project team. To understand the theory of motivation, because each person have a different motivation. We also need to understand the different type of project manager power. Each project manager is unique in its own project, and they have different power and different ability to be used in the project. Because different team members through the stage of development at different rates, and when a new team member are brought into the team, development stages can start all over again. This is one of problem if we introduce new team member to a project, not from the start, but on the middle. And Herzberg have hygiene theory that claims hygiene factors prevents dissatisfaction, while motivators leads to satisfaction. Process number 3, manage project team. The task is tracking and reporting on the performance of individual team members. Performance appraisals are prepared and conducted, issues are identified and resolved, and feedback is given to the team members. The input is HR management plan, project staff assignment, team performance assessment, whether it's formal or informal, issue log, work performance report, CPI, SPI, organizational process assets. Tools and techniques that needed is observation and conversation, project performance appraisals, it's the evaluation of employees from people who supervise them, conflict management, so some of it will need to be addressed by the source of the conflict, and it needs to be scheduled. It can be scheduled, priorities, resource, technical belief, administrative policies, procedures, projects, and so on. And the fourth technique is interpersonal skill, leadership, influencing, and effective decision making. The outputs of managed project team is change requests, project management plan updates, project documents updates, enterprise environmental factor updates, and organizational process assets updates. Now, we're going to talk about project manager HRM responsibilities. The project manager needs to create a project team directory. He or she needs to negotiate with resource managers for the best available resources. Needs to understand team members' needs for training related to the project and make sure the team member get it. He or she must create a formal staffing plan, prepare reports for team members' performance, make sure that team members are motivated, and create a reward system. That's it for the 12th meeting for today's subject. We'll meet you again in the next subject. Thank you. Bye-bye.